I've had worse. So,
Yeah,
all right. It looks like we're live here on Easter. I hope maybe we'll get a few people. I know most normal people, unlike business owners, are spending time with their family.
I know.
I know
Yeah.
you and I. You know how it goes as a small business owner. Every day is a work day. Yeah,
It's a lonely life, man.
it can be. I one of the things that I hear a lot is, man, don't you just love being your own boss? And I'm like, I went from having one boss in my corporate job to having like 1,000 bosses.
That's
Every
customer.
yeah, every
That's
customer.
a good way to look at it, man. They're all your bosses.
Yeah, and they are. I mean, without them, there's no. I'm a fat kid and I like food, and I can't pay for food without a boss.
It's true, man. One thing, man, that I got from my last job when I worked at a custom shop before, Shogun was a thing, is my boss one time told one of the customers, he said, "Hey, thanks for waiting, guys. I appreciate your patience." It was a long line. It was like during the COVID days.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'll get to you guys, we'll get to you guys in a minute. And one guy goes, "Ryan, you give everybody equal attention. It's all good. I appreciate it." And my boss goes, "You guys pay," he goes, "You guys pay my bills. You guys pay my mortgage, and he goes, I work for you guys." And when he said that, even the customer was like, "Wow, I never looked at it like that, Ryan." But when he said that,
yeah,
I said, "Man, you know what? I didn't think much of it then. I just was like, that was really nice of him. That was really nice of him to say, right?" But when I started Shogun Customs, I'm like, man, my customers pay my bills.
Yeah.
I will stay on the phone for an hour discussing your project if that's what it takes.
Yeah.
I will respond to your text within 5 minutes if that's what it takes. It's just you put it. Yeah, you put it the correct way, man. They're our bosses. We work for them, man.
and we have good bosses. We have a little bit harder to work with bosses, but that is part of it. It's the same goes with if you were standing behind the counter, a checkout counter waiting on somebody. You have customers that you check out that are a little bit more difficult, but at the end of the day, you still got to get things going.
You know what though? I gotta be honest, man. I can maybe think of one customer that where I've been like, you know what I mean? But
yeah,
I've been super fortunate so far to just every customer I've ever had has just been a joy to work with, man. They've been super understanding. They've been excited. They've been just pretty kind of awesome, man.
That is good. That is extremely good because I can definitely I have some stories of some good ones that I mean, I have very good customers, but also have some good stories about some that just have blown my mind. I had one that I returned his payment to him because he wanted it very quick. There was a lead time for that specific trigger. He wanted to pay extra to get it done very quickly. I happened to have a trigger that was similar. This was for an HKVP9, not something I normally do a lot of.
Right.
And I happened to be doing one for another customer that was a customer I personally knew. And I hit him up. I'm like, "Hey, do you mind if I extend your lead time out a little bit? I got another customer I'm trying to take care of." And he was like, "Yeah." So I took care of him. I got the guy ready. I sent him a picture. I sent him his tracking number, and he's like, "Oh, that's a little bit different." It was just it was a slightly different variation of the trigger shoe. Okay. And he's like, "That's not the one on the website. I just don't,
Yeah.
He's like, "Tell you what, just go ahead. We'll wait. And I'll just send back because he sent me like $75 for a rush fee. Like
Mm.
I gave him a big number out there to dissuade him from doing this rush fee, because I always, whenever I get a rush fee, I know there's trouble. I just know it.
It just happens.
It just happens. So I was
Yeah.
trying to dissuade him from it.
Right.
And what I did was I sent him all of his money back, because
Mm.
I knew, I was like, I just, it's not, this isn't going to work out.
I just want to back off of this. I
Yes.
can really see
Yes.
the patterns, you know.
He went on Instagram and messaged shops that I work with
Oh
about
boy.
how terrible I am for giving all of his money back. All of his money, even the
Right.
75 that I told
Gotcha.
him initially was non-refundable. But I sent
Yeah, it's very, very rude of you.
yes, talk to shops that I work with, customers, even here in chat, Nordic Nevada in there, Stuart, he got a message from this guy. Then he messaged Lone Wolf, who builds the trigger shoe. He messaged them that I'm using their trigger shoe, and he claimed they got upset with me for using their trigger shoe. I don't even order it from them, order it from HK Parts. So
Mm.
he tried making it up this big deal that it was something that it really wasn't. So I'm glad you have good customers. I have great customers as well. It just, I've got some good stories. I guess maybe I've been fortunate in that way.
Dude, some people are just, you know, super entitled and they're vengeful, man. Like if they don't get that service that they want, they're vengeful. They're like vindictive and you know,
Yeah.
and they just have it out for you. And it's typically the people who want the rush order because they want their shit now, you know. So
Yes. But at the same time, going back to the good ones, having those customers that understand, and they want something really cool, and they also understand it takes a little bit of time. That's the type of customers that you really want. And it seems like I've looked at your comments on like your reels, and you do a lot of reels, by the way. I'm a picture
yeah,
guy, but you do a
yeah,
lot of reels.
yeah.
Um, everybody loves Will. Okay, so I like that.
Yeah, that's
You've got some good customers. Like
I
seriously, dude.
man, I was just telling Mrs. Shogun that the other day actually. I said you know, I feel like I've established a really good core group of customers and like a
Mhm.
fan base because these people always come on and comment. They always come on
Mhm.
and like. They share my stuff. They reshare it. I get
Yeah.
repeat business. Um, you know, and it's I guess one thing I pride myself on, man, is building a connection to people.
Yeah.
You know, when I'm you know taking somebody's money, it's just not like give me your money and you know like that to me when somebody takes their hard-earned dollar and decides
Mhm.
to give it to me when they could be feeding their family or doing something else with it. That to me is something that I think deserves a reciprocation of
Yeah.
forming a bond with them, you know. So I just pride myself on service, man.
And being a small business, you have more of an ability to do that, to interact with a customer on a one-on-one basis. Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
Myself, Tactical Pontoon being small enough where some of these other guys, you know, say Apex, Overwatch, Overwatch. I know I said your name, but please don't send me another cease and desist. Um, Agency, they don't
Jesus.
have the same. They don't have the same like ability to reach out and actually interact with the customers on a one-on-one basis, whether it's on social media,
Yeah,
email. Please don't phone call me, or text message or something like that. You
right.
know, very very fortunate as a small business to be able to interact with people on a one-to-one basis, which is really cool. It is really cool.
I mean, dude, I'm like extremely grateful for customers. Like I don't like I don't know if I can actually convey how appreciative I am when someone does business with me. You know, it lights up my day,
Hmm.
and it makes me feel productive, and it gives my life purpose, you know?
Yeah.
And that's why I just give my customers the attention that I think they deserve. And before somebody actually places an order with me, I hop on the phone with them and I go over their project one last time. I
Hmm.
use a queue system, right? You book your place in line,
Yeah.
and when it's your turn, I send you a text from my phone.
Yeah.
Hey man, you got time today or tomorrow, or when would you like to discuss your project? I'm about ready for your frame. I hop on the phone, and I spend on average 30 minutes, and I just want to make sure this is what you ordered.
Yeah.
This is how, you know what I mean? I go over everything with them, and that's it, man. And so yeah, you got access to me right away. Bam, text me. If you got any questions, text me, please. You're right.
That's that's why you got that following. I mean, you do, because
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Mhm.
I honestly wish I had more time to be able to do that. I spend a lot of time messaging people back and forth and going over different projects, but you being able to like each one, double, verify what they want. Even I'm sure dealing with me on this last project we've got coming up has not been easy on you, because I kind of left it in your hands. You're used to having the customer dictate things, and
Yeah, yeah,
I wanted to show Shogun. Okay, I wanted to show Shogun, and
yeah,
I kind of left it up to you. And I
yeah.
and I could kind of tell it, what you're not used to that.
I
So
know that's the question is like, so you want? All right.
do it. Yeah, yeah. It's
But
like
also,
I want. Yeah, go
go
ahead.
ahead, go ahead.
I was just like, do it your style. I want it to scream you.
Mm,
And that's, you would hit me back with another question, another. I'm like, no, just I want it to be you.
yeah, yeah.
And and I could tell you're not used to that, which means you're very connected to your customers. That's pretty awesome.
Thank,
That's why you got that
thank you.
reputation.
Thank you, man. I'm certainly trying, man. It's definitely hard on this frame because I've never done this frame before, you
Yes.
know? So I'm like, like if you sent me in a Glock, I'm like, oh, okay. You want me? Okay. Like I could have been like, dude, Jedi, I got you. I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, you want,
Yeah.
but for this Nomad, I'm like, I've never done one. So,
It's a little
with this, yeah, it's a little tough. So I'm like, okay.
and it's a little bit different polymer, a little bit different, the layout's different. I gotta say, I have we've we're in kind of a golden age for Glock, in a manner of speaking,
Yeah,
where you can pretty much put an entire Glock together without Glock parts. But I do miss the I miss in about 2018, 2019, 2017, when the P80 craze was going and the aftermarket hadn't met the demand of the parts. So you could buy frames, empty frames, for like 20 bucks,
dude.
$25, factory Glock frames.
Yeah,
I miss those days
I wasn't,
because,
dude. I wish I was stippling in those days.
oh,
That
dude,
would be great.
I remember. Do you, he's really not man, I've been around too long. Um, uh, Rook Customs,
I know,
Jad.
I know, Rook
Okay,
Tactical, but I
okay.
don't.
No, no, this is a different guy. This is Rook.
Okay.
He called the Space Monkey. Dude is so cool. I got to get a hold of Jad, but
Uh,
he had a run with Primary Arms. He was able to, he was getting frames. I think he'd buy like 100 frames at a time, and he was running, these special custom runs with Primary Arms. And like, man, I miss the days of those factory frames. They were so cheap.
yeah.
I wish I had stocked up. Because as much as I like all these aftermarket frames, and it's really cool having them, especially when P80 was, your only option there for a while.
Right, right, right.
Um, but man, I would love to have those cheap frames again.
Dude, I like the strike frames, man. I wish they would bring those back. They're gonna bring them back, but they're gonna be serialized, but
Are they going to bring them back? I hadn't kept up with that.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
that's what I'm hearing.
Well,
With some.
honestly, from a just like, function standpoint, the serialized are kind of better because, man, I have seen some funky frames out there, dude. I have seen some bad drilling jobs on
Yep.
P80 frames. Oh my goodness.
Well, like you need to make something like dummy proof, right? And for drilling these. And I don't know if you've seen from like some of my past posts, but I'm part of Freedom Crew University. It's basically a group of us where if you go on freedomcrewuniversity.com, this is not a plug.
Oh, go
I
ahead.
guess
Plug away. It's all right. It's all right. I'm not afraid.
okay. It's where you can actually go learn how to build 80s. You can learn how to build AKs. Like we have an AK class, 1911 class, Glock building
Oh,
class, stippling class. Um, and one of our members who goes by DLD After Dark, I think his company's like DLD Hardware, I think, but he actually made a jig. Okay. So this is
okay.
going to turn back around to what you just said.
No,
He
yeah, this is good.
made a beautiful jig
Uh-huh.
to where you cannot. Oh my god!
What,
It just did the hearts. Did you
you got
see
some
that?
hearts all over you. That was beautiful. I don't.
It just did. It just
Wow.
did hearts. That's funny.
Wow.
Yeah, he made a dummy-proof jig where you cannot screw up the holes, man. And from what I hear, it's like the only jig like that. And he'll send photos in the group text, like, "Dude, somebody messed up the holes somehow," and he's blaming my jig. And we're like, "Wait, how did he do that? It's impossible." But somehow people still find a way to screw up the holes.
Nothing is idiot proof. I love everybody, but some people shouldn't do certain things, or they should do things enough, like they should do enough things and just not share it. Like, screw, you're gonna mess stuff up until you're good. It
Right.
you know, nobody, for the most part, nobody's born good at things. You got to mess things up. So, but just don't tell everybody, and don't blame it on somebody else. Don't blame it on the tools. Yeah, don't blame it on the tools.
Yeah, I've seen people like post things in groups like, "Oh, something this messed up. I'm blaming this," and I was like, "Dude, you just told on yourself, and now that person's getting beat down in the comment section." I'm just popping popcorn in my mouth, like, "All right, man, poor guy, sorry, bro."
Yeah, you kind of brought it on yourself, man.
Yeah.
You do. You have to. I see Angry Sarge here in the chat. Our good friend Angry Sarge.
Nice, Sarge.
He's a good dude.
He
I
is,
need to watch his
man.
channel more.
That guy has been supporting me, like we are talking about my core group, since like the inception of Shogun Customs.
Wow.
Brought me a lot of business, always shared my stuff. And him and we got a few projects going on that are going to be done, throughout the next few months or so. But yeah, man, he's been one of the biggest supporters of Shogun Customs. Someone I can call my friend now. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it's just we've built a connection, and he's he's a good dude, man.
He's been a good dude. The times I've dealt with him, I need to build him another trigger. I know he picked one up off me. Wow, it's been almost a year now. Yeah, well, I'm gonna have to get a hold of him and get something going with him, because it's been too long.
Did you see the reel that he just posted with the hands on trying to put the gun apart? The ATF guy couldn't put the gun. He couldn't take the Glock slide off.
Oh, I didn't see the
gotta
reel,
go
but I
check
saw. Oh my goodness.
Dude, so he did like two parody reels on
Yeah.
trying to put it's you just gotta go see it. It's
I'll have to check it out. I've literally, I've pretty much seen it on actual like social media where people are trying to put their stuff together, and it's like, oh no,
yeah,
oh
dude.
no. My favorite one, the one that bothers me the most, and it used to be really prevalent in the P80 groups, was people would get their P80 and they put it together. They're waiting on their slide, and they would have their trigger installed and they're like, man, my trigger doesn't work. Why does my trigger not work? It doesn't come back. And it's like,
oh yeah, because there's no
yeah,
slide on there.
there's
You're
no
like,
slide on it. I'm like, oh man, you
no, I saw
guys,
you talking to somebody in the comments. You handled it very professional.
I, I try it
Yeah,
inside. I mean,
yeah,
I actually need to do a video on it so that, because sometimes when I'm, just typing it professionally, it's a lot to go over, because sometimes if I just put a slide on it, I've had them like, what are you talking about? And then I got to go through it anyways. So
yeah,
just do a video that'll basically explain it. So,
yeah. Easy, easy.
hey, on the comments here, Blade Boy, it's good to have you back, man. It has been a while. Good to see you here. And we got Desert Tactical. I don't know. Have you dealt with Dave at Desert Tactical?
Mm-mm.
You need to hit him up. He'll probably hit you up one of these times. He's got an up and coming YouTube channel. He
Nice.
does some really good work. He's one of his videos is actually on my website, like during the when you're selecting a certain trigger system, because he did a really good video on the assembly and the pieces and parts. So
What is he? What's he do?
Well, he does a lot of things. He does different reviews and stuff, and he shoots, and he's done like a lot of videos on the different daggers. He's your typical good dude YouTuber. He's got a lot of different videos, but like I said, he did
content provider.
yeah
Nice, or
yeah
creator. Yeah,
yeah
provider. Point of new
content
term.
provider.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I have worked with a lot of different big and small YouTube channels in my time. I'm actually building triggers because of a YouTube channel, believe it or not.
Really?
Yes. Tactical Toolbox.
Oh, that's
Okay, Jonathan Tactical Toolbox. I watched him for probably 6 months or so before I really got into things, and I was like, I don't know, his content was kind of fun, and he was doing different Glock triggers and stuff, and I had bought different Glock triggers and just never had any luck. So that's when I started playing with things. And when I had a setup that I really liked, I just shot him a message on Instagram. Just shot him a message. I'm like, hey, if I send you a trigger, I know you're busy, feel free to say no, just whatever. I want to send you a trigger and just see if you like it. Okay.
yeah.
Well, like 2 weeks later, this was even before Instagram Reels. There was a video on Instagram, and he had a trigger in one of his Glocks, and man, it looked really good. I'm like, shit, somebody built a better trigger. And then I noticed he tagged me. I'm like, oh shit. And then he did a video on YouTube, and before I knew it, I had a website that I wasn't really sure what I was going to do with.
Yeah.
I was basically just going to link, like, I was kind of trying to do the YouTube thing and like reviews and that sort of thing. And I had a website. Well, that went live. His video went live, and people started asking about buying triggers from me. And next thing I knew, and the Tactical Pontoon name was done.
Pontoon was born.
The Pontoon was born. I already had the Instagram handle, and it just stuck. So that's kind of
Dude, that's a pretty cool story, man.
Yeah, it's been a ride, my friend. It has been a ride.
Yeah. What a cool way to just get going, man, to fire up the company. Like, that's kind of badass.
It was I gotta say, I'm happy with how it's turned out.
Yeah.
I never what's that?
You never know. You just never know how you're going to get into anything in life, man. I mean, or if you learn a trade, some type of skill, and then you're no longer doing it, you never know if it's going to circle back around and something else that you're doing now. Like, you just don't know. At some point, I'm going to be putting some of my music in my reels, because
Oh,
I've been making music on and off since like '99,
okay.
and I left music for a long time. I have some of my studio set up here in the shop, but I stopped making music for a long time.
Hmm.
And when I started up Shogun Customs, I hadn't thought about it like in the beginning, but now in the later days, I'm like, man, I should start putting some of my own stuff in my reels, which I haven't done yet. But in the meantime, I have friends who make music. Like that last reel I just posted, a progression video on the
Uh-huh.
laser and all that. That's a good friend of mine back home. That's one of his tracks.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
yeah, yep. So I just hit up my boy Dre, not Dr. Dre, and I just say, hey man, I need some sound mathematics up in this
Yeah.
reel. Let's go.
Hell yeah.
But my point is, I'm sorry, but my point is like I thought music. I'm like I'm done. Like but it's been dusty. I took it out of the box, and I'm like, I'm gonna make music for my reels. So it came
Yeah.
back full circle. And so
Yeah.
I don't know how to get on that. But the point is, you just never know what skill you learn in life is going to be valuable to you or useful to you later on down the road. You never know how you're going to get into a business industry, or
Yeah.
hopefully that all makes sense.
No, it does. And don't be afraid to. That's the other thing. It's kind of, full circle to you're gonna mess stuff up. You're gonna mess stuff up until you're good.
Yeah,
Or you're gonna realize maybe it's not for me. um
that yeah. What the hell am I doing?
yeah,
Yeah.
my for example, my fiance, she thinks that I'm good at everything. And she's one of those really timid people that doesn't like to mess up.
Hmm.
And I've had to tell her, I'm like, you have no idea how much shit I mess up. I mess up so much stuff, but you don't see it because I know I have to mess something up in order to get, either good at it or maybe I get lucky and it you got to build those skills that you're just not born with. You're gonna mess things up. It just happens
Dude,
if you're doing
that's
stuff.
where discovery and growth lies, is on the other end of that fuck up.
Yeah. Yeah. For example, I mean, Shogun Customs. You've been Shogun Customs for how long now?
Not very long. Officially a year. I mean, I think
Has it all? It's got to be
I've, I've
longer
been
than.
stippling, I've been stippling longer than that,
Okay,
but Shogun as oh no, wait, you know what? Hold on a sec.
it's got to be at least 2 years.
It's been about 3 years, but half of that,
Hmm.
I had my books shut.
Okay,
I wasn't taking orders, so like books open wise, a year and a half,
okay,
and before Shogun, I was stippling for another custom shop.
yeah,
I wasn't Shogun yet.
yeah. Okay. Well, what what pushed you to open up show like instead of maybe going through another shop? What pushed you even to get in stippling? How did that happen? What
Oh man, yeah.
man? How'd that happen?
Okay, so I'll try to keep the timeline and everything understandable. Um, so when I was working back in San Diego, that's where I'm originally from.
Mhm.
I worked at a gun shop, and that was I was part time there.
Okay.
I worked I don't know, man, 20 hours a week maybe, and but my other job was a kung fu instructor, and I've
What?
been in the yeah,
Oh
I
shit.
yeah, wow. Yeah, I've been into martial arts for a big part of my life, and up until the whole COVID thing, I spent the last 12 years teaching,
Okay.
and so that was my main thing, and then I worked at the gun shop as well. Well, when I bounced to another gun shop where it was a custom shop also. It
Yeah.
wasn't just retail. And so this was retail, but it was gunsmithing, holster making, Cerakote, stippling, laser engraving, all that kind of stuff. And so I had already been curious about stippling.
Yeah.
I had already been curious about it. And one day I just took it upon myself to go grab a bunch of A2 grips that we used to throw in a barrel. because we built our own AR pistols. So we had
Everybody
little
starts with the A2 grips.
everybody, dude. So they would just, toss the A2 grips in a barrel. It was like a game. Let's see how much we could fill it up, So
Yeah.
I would just grab a handful, put them in a bag. I'd go home in my garage and I would start buying little bits and Dremels, and I'd start, trying stuff.
Uh-huh.
And I hung in there for about, I want to say 2 months, man, trying to learn how to stipple patterns. And I sucked. Man, I sucked. Well, I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So our stippler ends up moving back to Indiana. And my boss, there was two bosses. One boss walks up to me because he knew I had kind of been practicing.
Mhm.
But what he didn't know is I had given up about a month ago. He
Yeah.
thought I was still practicing. He walks up to me with a 17 frame and ended up, it was a 34 build, actually. Yeah. And he's like, "You ready?" And he does this. And I'm like,
Oh.
"Yeah, sure. What's up? What are we doing?" Because we do so much. I'm just like, "What
Yeah,
do you
it's
want?"
like,
Yeah.
am I putting some pins in? What are we doing?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
right. And he's like, "Stipple it." And I went, "No, no, no, I'm not doing that." And he goes, "Doesn't have to look pretty." And I said, "Doesn't have to look pretty?" He goes, "Dude,
Mhm.
just burn it. Just burn some texture into it." He goes, "We're donating it to a event. They're going to raffle it off. People are going to buy raffle tickets." And I
Yeah.
said, "All right, man." So I threw a terrible stipple on it. I still have a photo of it somewhere, but I was so proud.
Yeah.
Um, I was so proud. I thought I was on top of the world, man.
Well, I'm
And
sure I'm sure going from those terrible A2 grips to that beautiful Glock plastic or polymer was, you know,
yeah, and
God.
I didn't know there was a difference. So I just was like, "Cool, I got better. It looks better." But
Yeah.
I didn't, because I had tried on like SIG modules. I'm like, "Man, this is super sharp." I'm like, "I suck." And then I do it on a Glock, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm good." I
Uh-huh.
had no idea there was a difference with
Mm.
polymers. That's how newbie I was, man.
Yeah.
So the gun ended up, after they Cerakoted the slide and everything, it ended up raffling off for like something like $3,000 or something like that worth of tickets, man.
Yikes.
And
Yeah.
yep. And when the California 10-day waiting period, the customer comes to pick up the frame, and I walk up to him and I'm like, "Hey, man, what do you think?" You know? And
Oh
he's
no.
like, "Yeah, yeah." He's like, "Yeah, man, no, it's nice. It feels really good in the hand." And I was like a little kid. I'm like, "I did that."
Your head got all big. Yeah.
Dude, it didn't even, it wasn't that it was big. I was just
No.
so excited. Like, "Look, man, I did that for you. Like, what do you like? You like
Yeah.
it? I did it for you."
Uh-huh.
And I caught the bug, man. So I went to my boss. I'm like, "Hey, would you mind if we kept the stipple program going?" And he goes, "Yeah, man, please do, because I hate doing that shit." So I took over, and the prices were very small because I didn't know what I was doing. But
Yeah.
as I started, going on YouTube and Facebook, I joined Facebook groups, and a lot of the guys were helping me out. And
Mhm.
I just started getting better, and prices started getting better.
Yeah. Yeah.
So basically, answering your question is, when Shogun manifested was, unfortunately, after 10 years, man, that shop had to close down. Uh, they the big bulk of our business were AR pistols, because in California
Uh,
there was only a handful of shops in all of California that had the license to build an AR pistol and sell it to the public. So when California and everyone started making all these rules about pistol braces and all that kind of stuff, um, our sales started going down. Not to mention the property management company. Now, I'm sorry, this is long winded, but the property management company gave
no,
us
no, go
30
for
days. They gave us 30 days to move out. They're like, "We just don't want you here anymore." And my boss was
it.
like,
Mhm.
"Dude, 30 days to move in FFL, find a spot, build it out, build the safe room, gated doors, and all this blah." He's like, "Dude, there's no way." There's no way, because you have to
Yeah.
do that in 30 days or else you lose your FFL and you have to reapply, yada, yada, yada.
Mhm.
So he was like, I'm going back to Tennessee. So that's
Oh
when,
no.
yeah, yeah. So I had already had kind of a reputation, with customers there,
Yeah.
and so I went off on my own. I'm like, hey, just call me personally. I'll stipple your gun. And when I actually fired up the company, man, I was a different name. I was Mad Monk Customs. And I had a logo, I had a mascot, I
Uh-huh.
had brand colors, I had a custom font, I had everything, and I
Yeah.
had my FFL, my business license, everything was under Mad Monk Customs. And one day, man, I was just thinking about one of my favorite older samurai movies, Shogun Assassin,
Uh-huh.
back in 1980. And when I said Shogun, something just clicked, you
And it
know,
was done.
It was done. Yep. I'm like, man, I already like Eastern culture. I'm into Kung Fu. I love samurai culture. I love Kung Fu culture. I love the Eastern culture already, man. And it's marketable. The
Mhm.
way it's spelled, it's got two meanings. It's samurai, but it's a showpiece. I'm like, oh my God, I got so excited.
No,
The
that's when you
DBA.
know it's right. That's when you know it's right.
Yep. And I was excited about Mad Monk Customs because I like the whole concept of the peace and the war, because it was a monk with a rifle and he's
Ah,
mad, but he's a monk, you know?
yeah.
So when I got super excited about Shogun, I knew it was something special, man.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's really cool. That's super cool. I don't know if I could have come up with a better name. Like, now that I've embraced this one, uh, yeah, no, that's pretty damn cool.
But
Oh,
you've done a great job branding your company, man. I mean, like,
it's just my
you're
stupid
known,
face.
but it's recognizable.
It is now.
That's part, yeah, that's part of a good brand is being able to recognize the logo, the
Yeah,
colors, the font, the mascot, whatever it is. If someone says Trigger Jedi, they know
it's
immediately Tactical Pontoon,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
If somebody
Or
see,
oh,
go ahead.
or sometimes it's tactical platoon they'll say, or tactical poontang is another one that gets thrown out there a lot.
I
But
get Shotgun Customs. I'm like
shotgun.
Shogun. Yep, selective reading.
Yeah,
Like it's
yeah.
Shogun. Yeah, it's okay. But no, you've done a great job branding yourself, man. I mean, you're doing so well. I mean, you're killing it in the dagger groups, man. Killing it in the dagger groups. All the
It's
groups.
funny. Well, it's really funny because when the dagger came out, I kind of wrote it off because at the time I was doing this part time, and all I was really doing back then was my high end, competition triggers. Anybody that was doing like their high end builds, they came to me.
To the
There's another
Jedi.
guy, but yeah, I
There's
wasn't even a
another.
Jedi at that point.
Another.
But yeah, there's another guy, but most of anyways. So when right before I went full time, I got invited to one of the dagger groups, and so I went in there, and I posted up some of my work, and everybody freaked out because it was more than the cost of their dagger or
Yeah,
thereabouts.
yeah.
And I was very much on the outskirts of that group, and I was just kind of an outcast. So um, when I went full time, right around that time as well, I went full time, and I'm like, okay, this is a group I see growing, kind of like when I watched P80s, hit their peak. Dagger's kind of doing the same thing. I said, well, what I can do is I can take my experience building triggers, and I can put together something I've not done before, which is just kind of a more basic drop-in trigger using parts that I know work really well. Instead of just doing a generic kit, 3.5 kit that all these other companies throw out, I can
Sure.
build something that's a drop-in that I know works. And I can do it at a price that's, far more reasonable. It's not as cheap as the big guys because I'm not, I don't have their, leverage. Uh, but I can offer something that they can't, which is customer service. So I spent time I built those systems, I had those offerings, but then I had to create, you know, I had to befriend them by basically doing kind of like I did with P80 groups, which was helping people troubleshoot things, whether it's my triggers or others, or just, be an information source for them. And then they could purchase a tactical pontoon trigger later on if they wanted to, which
Right.
came with, the name of my higher end competition stuff. So it's it's been a lot of work. Don't get me wrong. Uh,
Oh, I know, because I see you are always in the Glock groups, the dagger groups, talking to people constantly. Anytime someone's like, "What kind of trigger should I get?" You see me, I'm like, "Oh, fucking Pontoon's already on it. Like, I can help." Like, yeah, what he said, you know. And so you're on it, man, and I respect that, man, because being your own boss is awesome,
mhm.
right? But when you're your own boss, you don't get a break. I'm in my shop 7 days a week,
Yeah,
probably an average on the high end of 10 hours a day.
yeah,
And you to be working out, I'll be here on my bench and I have my phone right there. And if I see and hear a notification, I look up,
yeah,
and if it's a like, I ignore it. But if it's a message, I down, answer real quick, boom, back to the bench. Answer real quick, back to the bench.
yeah.
So you're constantly spreading yourself everywhere.
Mm.
You're a website developer, you're a marketer, customer service,
A
right?
YouTube.
YouTube, podcast,
Yes.
you're everything. You have to wear so many hats, man. And when people used to say that kind of stuff before I was a small business owner, I'm like, okay, you
Hmm.
know, ooh, whatever. But now it's like you feel it. You're like, dude, and you're in bed trying to fall asleep and you're dreaming about stippling, you know. As soon as my eyes open, I'm thinking about a customer order. I'm
Yeah.
not laughing
Yeah.
because it's true.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Really dream about customers projects. It's crazy.
Mm.
And so it's hard to shut it off. So and it stresses you out, and maybe that's why I couldn't eat for so long. But
I wish I had that problem. I don't have that problem. I can assure you.
dude,
I can eat,
listen, there's
unfortunately.
there's another thing I admire about you, man. You are as busy as you are, but look how healthy you are. I think that's super commendable, man. But no, look, man, you're
I,
obviously in the gym lifting weights, man. Like,
I
come on,
fortunately I have a setup here at the house.
that's your home gym.
But okay, from here up is good. There's
Pontoon,
there's
it's a
definitely
pontoon.
yeah, I can float. I can definitely float. But
But listen, but listen, man. I tell people. So I lost about 20 pounds.
uh-huh.
Um, I had. I mean, they're telling me IBS, okay? But listen, like IBS is just like a blanket term for I don't know why you can't eat food, and I
Yeah.
don't know why it burns when you eat food, and I don't know why you can't get past 3 bites of food without feeling like you know what I mean. Like so I
Yeah.
had ER visits and all that kind of stuff, and I dropped a lot of food or I dropped a lot of weight, and there was a time when I was in the hospital for 3 days. I couldn't eat food. They weren't letting me eat food because they had to scope me and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
When I was able to eat food,
Uh-huh.
oh my God, you don't know how much like the appreciation for
Yeah.
food hitting my mouth, man. Like it just like the the gratitude you have for food
Yeah.
changes, man. So be happy that you can
No.
form a tune.
No, and that is right. Because as much as doctors know, they it is pretty accurate when they say practice, because they don't know everything. My fiance has had 3 brain surgeries since we've been together, and she still lives with just insane headaches all the time. So like you said, just being thankful for, being relatively normal is something. So, well,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
modern medicine, they can't fix everything.
Yeah. When I finish a meal pain free and acid reflux free and other stuff free, I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Because that when I can drink water without feeling like weird, like I'm grateful, man. So I don't know how we really got to this level of
No.
emotion, but
Yeah.
yeah.
No. Well, that's part of it. I mean, when, as a business owner, you have to fit your life within the business, when that business is almost like a 24-hour, 7-day a week type thing. Fitting life into that, normal things like irritable bowel syndrome, and just having any sort of personal life, or just taking a shower without having your phone with you, can make it's your life. Like,
Yeah.
having any sort of normal life is
Dude, my
part
phone
of it.
goes in the shower with me too, man. Because you might get like a crazy mess. You're like, oh, I gotta respond to this one.
Yeah,
You know?
you got, because you're watching your business all the time. Like,
Dude,
that's
I'm so glad you're saying all this. Honestly, because I thought maybe I have a very like type of personality where I'm just very like I won't eat all day because I'm so involved in my work. I'll work through the hunger pains because I don't want to step away. So I thought I was a little crazy, man. My phone, I'm always like, okay, so you're saying all this stuff that I'm
it's
going through. So I'm not alone.
no, you're not alone. I am. I feel sorry for my fiance. She's very understanding with the fact that it is. I love her, and I'm committed to her and our life, but I'm committed to the business, and she understands, because I can be right there, but be a million miles away, because I've got my phone and I'm answering an email. I'm, you know, somebody's messaged me with a troubleshooting of maybe one of mine or somebody else's trigger, or a factory gun that's got something wrong with it. I'm there.
Yeah.
I did manage yesterday, and I know you're on my Facebook. You see me in my automotive adventures that I fit within all of this.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy.
I managed. This is the first time in 7 years. I couldn't believe this. 7 years. I can't believe that this car used to be my daily driver, but I finally got the neon out. We went on a full 100-mile round trip, and it everything where the thing's been fighting me for months now. But finally, it's rock solid. Aside from little things, it's a neon, so it's never going to be perfect. But
Oh,
made 100-mile trip, and I threw my phone in the door panel, because with that car, it doesn't have power steering. It's got 255s all the way around, so you got to muscle that thing when it comes
yeah,
to
it's gripping.
driving.
It's gripping, huh?
Yeah, and then when you get in the throttle, it wants to kill you, but with the torque steer. It literally wants to kill you. So when I drive that is the one time that I make sure that phone gets thrown in the door pocket. I don't even think about it. So yesterday I managed, like, a few hours without checking my phone, which is very unusual for me.
That's a long time for someone like you to not take their phone, man. It's a lot of questions and inquiries, and you
Yes.
know, I had an SRT4 back in the day, man. Back in '05.
Those are Did you?
Yep.
Did you?
I had one, yeah, and then I had a bottom end, a spare bottom end for it, and a brand new unopened head
Ooh.
for it as well that I gave to my uncle here in Detroit because he has a speed shop. And I said,
Okay.
"Here, man," and I don't even think he sold it yet. I think it's still sitting in his garage in the box,
Man, that might
and
be that could be worth some money, brand new.
it's
They're
brand new, man.
they
Yep.
they are getting. I remember when that stuff was a dime a dozen, but it's getting the prices are going up.
How much can I
They
get for that boy?
maybe we might have to talk. I may need it.
Dude, I swear, I'm pretty sure it's still at his shop because I don't think he's done any SRT for it. It's all yeah, different type of cars. But yeah, those are
Cadillac CTSV probably. That everybody went from the SRT4 to the CTSV. It seemed
yeah.
like
He does a lot of the older restorations. You can look him up, man. Shift Auto Works on
Shift
Instagram.
Auto
Yeah, Shift
Works.
Auto Works. Yeah, here in Detroit.
Okay.
And yeah, they're doing some pretty. He just fired up the company like I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, and he's killing it, man. I mean, he's backlogged.
Yeah. Wow.
And he's been at, oh, wait, I'm tripping. No, 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 not 6 months because he's done two Autoramas so far. So he's done two Autoramas. So he's at least been around that long.
Okay.
But oh, he just fired up the Instagram. That's right, because he's not a social.
Okay.
And I'm
Okay.
like, dude, you need to have an Instagram. Okay, come on. But yeah, he's backlogged and he's doing some really cool projects. So I think you'll like his page, man. You'll see what he's doing.
I'm
Like
not.
they're
I'm
building these and everything.
yeah. I gotta say, I gotta give it to custom shops like that. I've always tinkered around with stuff, and the level of detail some of those shops are able to do is insane.
Yeah.
I'm learning a different craft per se with this other SRT4. I'm trying to do a mild restoration on because I come from we rattle can and we pull all the interior out. You get rid of all the extra crap you don't need, and so it goes by a lot quicker. Well, this other one, I'm trying to take the time to make sure it's got all the power steering, the air conditioning, uh, you know, I'm painting things back, making sure that the things are straight, that little grommets here and there where they need to be. And
Yeah.
it's a totally different world.
Yeah.
That gives you massive respect for people that do that on the, on the daily. It's insane.
It's like the
I got,
stippling, fine little
oh yeah.
touches, Yeah.
That's why I couldn't be I pay attention to detail on different things, but there's some of it where I know you guys have an eye, especially when this is when you guys look at each other's work. You guys are talking back and forth about somebody else's.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm part of those. I'm part of those conversations behind the
Yeah.
scenes, and sometimes there's a little bit of critique. Hey, did you see you missed that? I'm like,
Yep.
yeah.
You know what it is,
Or
though?
Ceratoders are the same way.
Oh man, dude.
You see that blown out line?
Yeah, exactly. They grab your stuff and they feel it. Okay, no ridges. Good job, dude. They're when it comes to the stippling, man, I never talk shit about someone's work. Okay, I never say, oh, he sucks or whatever. But if there's a stippler out there with an attitude, and an ego, yeah, that's when I have a different attitude towards his work, and I'll call certain stuff out. Not publicly.
Yeah,
I'm not going to do that unless, they start something publicly, maybe, maybe then. But, there are some stipplers out there, man, who have some big heads, and you can just hear it in the tone when they're, in the stippling pages, and they're put their post up, and you could just hear it in their title and or their comments, and so it's those guys that the small circle of us will be like, this guy says he's the best, or people think he's the best. Dude, look at this, And
yeah.
yeah, obviously I'm not gonna say any names, but
No.
my thing is like, dude, if you're gonna be cocky, like just at least actually be the best. Don't call yourself the best. Be good, not the best, but you're good and you're cocky, right?
Yeah.
At least do that, because then you're just you're just the best who's an asshole and cocky. Okay, cool. You're the best. You can be cocky. You can be an asshole. But if you're not the best, but you're cocky and an asshole, no.
It's funny. It's funny you bring that up because I get people sometimes they'll point that finger at me. They're like, oh, you're cocky. You're always saying you're the best and you're this. And I get that. And with it's so it can be hard to like for me, I know what I do is great. I know that the different things, because people say, I got one guy that loves posting on my stuff. He's like, you just buy all of your parts and you just assemble them. You don't actually do any real work. And then you charge a bunch of money for it. It's like, if you knew the type of like parts I've had to mess up and how many times that when I'm finishing up a trigger and it, either hand slips or maybe the geometry's just not quite right, I got to throw that part away. And those trigger bars have not, one, the supply can be extremely hard to get a hold of sometimes, and two, like, there's a level that I try to hold myself to. And yeah, some of my stuff comes off a little cocky. I have fun with my stickers. I don't take myself too seriously.
That's good though. Don't take
And
yourself exactly.
but I also know that when it comes down to it, I'm, I stand behind what I build.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. So it's,
no, I hear you.
we both, there's two sides of it, and
but you don't come off like an asshole to me though. That's the thing.
I am.
Really? No, I'm not seeing some of that stuff.
Actually, let's go back. Do you remember when I posted something about your work? This was early on. Do you remember this? And then I hit you up on Instagram, and you were like, "Are you sure?" and we had a brief conversation. I was like, you know what? You're right. I said something really bad, and yes, the shot was not the greatest. And the other thing is, it was probably early, and some days I am an asshole. So
you handled it well, though. Actually, you handled it very, like, you were very humble about it, because I remember I was like, no, this guy just a 9. I screenshot him. Hey, he followed me. I'm like, one day he's gonna fucking say something to me. I'm like, oh, what about this? And that's what happened. But dude, you handled it with class. You were like, my apologies, man. Sometimes I say things I shouldn't say, and your work is awesome, because you also would compliment my stuff too. I just think on the personal, when it was my name, you were like, I don't know who this guy is.
Yeah, and it probably, I didn't even see it. I don't even know if I saw your name. I think I just saw the customers
of it. Yeah,
they'll put on a stain sheet in their bathroom, hanging upside down with their Nokia 3390. Okay, they'll take their picture with that.
Dude, yeah, it's true. And to this day, I still think those lines on those borders were some of the cleanest lines, that I've done. And but no, you handled it so well. And that's when I was like, okay, you know what, man, I could respect this guy. Like, this is a guy that I can form a bond with. Somebody who doesn't immediately gets defensive, owns up to it, apologizes, and then carries forward and says, hey man, I much respect.
And here we are working together, which is really cool. And this was what we're talking, like I said, that's why I'm thinking it was almost 2 years ago. It's been a long time. But the other part of it is, my God, man, your work is, oh my God, the hybrid setups you've got going on. Like I said, I gotta find a factory Glock frame so that I can send you for one of those, because dude, Josh is a beast. Josh is a beast when it comes to laser, but and he is seeing what you got going on as well. Oh, dude.
That's the cool thing about artwork, man. It's like, it can all be nice. We're all artists. Josh has his layouts. I have mine. People are going to like his more than mine. People are going to like mine more than his.
Oh yeah.
And yep. And that's why I try to do things that set. So, man, we're talking about, if you're meant to do something, I'm meant to stipple, man. Honestly, I've always been that guy that just looked at lines differently and looked at curves differently, and was very particular about placement. you know, very much into simplicity, into a Zen type of vibe where it's direct, it's simple, it's not loud. There's a
Mhm.
story behind it. You know, you look at a Zen garden, you look at a painting of bamboo, right?
Yeah.
You look at a picture of ripples in a pond. It's simple, direct, and you can interpret it in so many different ways, right?
Hmm.
Uh, so when I do my framework and I design my hybrid layouts and I design my hand stipple layouts,
Yeah.
I want something that's aggressive and sharp, yet simple and subtle, all in one. You know,
You want
it
that
wants to beat your
performance
ass.
and that aesthetics.
I'm sorry, what?
That performance and the aesthetics
Yes.
that fit with your.
Yep. It knocks you out, lays you down on the canvas, and then it respectfully bows to you.
I
I
like
have
it.
this I have this thing going with Josh. It's so funny. I'll send him a picture like, bro, my frames will whoop your frames ass.
Good.
And then he'll
Good.
reply, we have a little
Yeah.
back and forth, you know, it's funny.
Man,
Yeah.
I've been working with Josh since all he did was hand stippling. Um, I've got one of his early frames. I have the very first frame that he Cerakoted. Or not the very first frame and probably the only frame that he Cerakoted and battle worn. He doesn't do any of that
Yeah, yeah.
now. But
That's cool.
yeah, yeah.
Josh has always
It,
been good, man. You know, since before his laser, like, you know, just his borders were super clean. I mean, he helped me out a lot with borders, like
yeah.
how to lay them down clean. Oh yeah, tons, man. I got help from a lot of people in the industry. I've helped a lot of people as well, but you got to keep the cycle going, right?
Yes, yes.
You know.
There's a lot of really good people to learn from.
Hmm.
I mean, without a doubt, I wouldn't I wouldn't be here without different people in the industry that even talked to me before I was doing anything.
Yeah.
Um, Excel Weapon Works no longer around. He was an early stippler. He did a lot of P80 frames.
Hmm.
He was one of those guys that kind of pushed me to keep going on things when it was before I was doing triggers, before I was, I mean, anybody. He just,
Hmm.
you know, he would talk to me. He was somebody you could talk. It was really cool. And
Yeah.
I hope that I've been able to, you know, I've had people, you know, hit me up that, you know, they want to do different trigger works and different things. And, you know, part of my thing has been to teach people because, hey, who knows? You could help bring the next whoever, the next tactical pontoon, or somebody I could hire. Maybe that'd be awesome too.
Oh, dude,
Somebody
tell me.
somebody I could trust.
Yeah.
That's a tough one too.
And here's the thing, too, man. Here's how I look at it. It's like there's nothing wrong with friendly competition amongst
Yeah.
your network, right?
Hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with some newcomer
Yeah.
coming in and, you know, scooting you aside like, hey man, I'm in here
Giving
now
you a little
too.
push. Yeah.
Right. And you go, oh shit, okay. I need to sit down and spend a few days on border layouts. And you know, like
Huh.
I just came up with 3 new hand stipple textures, right? Because you know, somebody said they didn't like my textures. You know, I was like, okay. So I got to the mill and
Yeah.
grabbed some blank tips and came out with a few new textures. And I was like, ooh. So pushing each other and, you know, it all comes back full circle. And the
Mm.
thing is, too, man, you help somebody achieve purpose in life, man. That to me is a purposeful life as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
You know, because dude, we all struggle to find our place in life, you know, find ourselves and all that kind of stuff. So if somebody can help you achieve greatness,
Hmm.
you know, in this world, that to me is a life worth living, man. You know.
That can pay for itself far beyond just one sale of you know, I look at it whereas let's say instead of helping somebody I try to sell them a trigger and I've made one sale, but if I help them and you know I teach them something and they either start being able to do triggers or they help other people you know, fix different problems, uh that that generates way more in the end than just that one sale. If you're just looking for that one sale, you're just that salesman, you're not going to get anybody. Oh, what?
That's bigger.
We got Josh in the comments here. I haven't seen him. Look at that.
Speaking of, let me pull my phone out. What's this jerk saying?
He says good things. He says he's the beast, though. He does say he's the beast.
Bro, look, listen, I keep telling you, you'll never be the Shogun. Okay. I gotta find it on YouTube now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, dude, me and Josh, man, we, he is he's 45 minutes away from me. I've been to his house to help him on stuff. He's been in my shop to help me with stuff. I mean, there's friendly competition between us. Sorry if this gets loud. Let me turn this down. Okay. There's, we got friendly competition amongst ourselves.
Yeah.
But here's the thing too, like when I learn something new on how to polish or how to, stipple a symmetrical pattern or something or whatever it is, I'm on the phone and like, hey, dude, like, you know what I mean? When he figures something out, he shares it with me. I go to, he's like, hey man, I figured out how to do this or like, we don't hide anything from each other. There's probably a couple things I'm sure that he's keeping to himself, whatever.
But you definitely have you let him know everything. I'm sure he's got a few things hidden in his closet, right?
I've taught him 100% of what he knows and what I know. No, listen, I taught him 100% of what he knows, but only 80% of what I know.
Okay. I gotta bring him on one of these days. I had every intention when I started doing a lot of these live streams to bring people on. And for the first year, I had a couple people, and then I lost like the drive to do as much of this live streaming. Well, this year I brought on, he's got family stuff, that's why I wasn't here, but Brandon of Disruptive Defense. And we kind of changed the idea of the live stream. We named it the Work Harder Weekly, to kind of, instead of just talking about, just triggers and this and that, but it's like the idea behind the business of what it takes to do all of this stuff, whether it's a stippling or just handling, different customer issues or why you got in business. And, that's what I love. I've definitely enjoyed our conversation, learning about, why we're doing this stuff and some of the experiences we've had. And I know we could go on for hours about it, telling each other and everybody's stories.
Absolutely. and I want to quickly kind of shift backwards a little bit. Who did you have on your show first, me or Josh? Who was it?
Well,
you chose the Shogun first, right? I mean, you were like,
okay, you are the first. You are. Yes, you're the first on the live stream. I do have a video that I did when I got my first real camera of the frame that he did for me. I did kind of a basic overview. The problem was when I uploaded it, even though I took the video in like, full 1080p at the time, it uploaded 480. So it still came out. The video unfortunately still came out bad.
Dude, I mean, that's the universe telling you something right there. Right?
That's what it is. I got to get him on. Maybe we'll, yeah, I got to get him on because we have me and Josh.
Man.
It's pretty cool. Seeing him go from just doing the hand stippling and working out of the original shop that he was working out of to going out on his own. It's been really cool. Just, I've been very fortunate to have worked with a lot of guys that do both framework and Cerakote. You got Tommy Alvarez, who I need to get on here. Mr. What Tip?
Mr. What Tip? I know, dude.
What Tip?
For me, it's Mr. Put my logo on there because every time he's a logo on your framework, bro.
That was his other one, yeah.
No, Josh and I think have probably had more of an impact on each other's work than we know. To be honest, I remember, he expressed himself to me like how I've helped him, and obviously I've done the same for him. And we've pushed each other directly and indirectly to be better. And he's doing really, really good with the I mean, dude, he's cracking the code
Yeah.
on all glass field polymers. I haven't bothered going down that road, but I will soon. I'll do a lot better than him, but I'm giving him a grace period right now.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, gotta let him. You give him a head start. Give
yeah,
him a couple
grace,
car legs. Give him a couple car legs.
exactly. See
He
what he
say exposed himself to you.
right,
Hey, that may have
dude.
happened. You guys, I remember maybe like a year ago or so. It seemed like you were always over at his shop, helping him keep up. So it just
Oh,
didn't allow you to keep your books open. So I'm sure. I hope he
yeah,
paid you. Better have paid
it's
you for
he paid me literally literal fucking peanuts.
he
No,
did
man,
expose himself to you, so that was pretty.
I know. But you see Marconi's in here even. I mean,
Yeah, Marconi's,
dude,
dude.
listen. First off, like this is another slide guy, right? I
Yes,
mean, so here's what we're talking about, the community. I just released my slide, right?
yes,
And
yes,
it's clearly the best on the market, right? But Marconi shared my stuff on his story, and he's a
yes,
slide guy, right?
yeah, yeah.
So, and it's kind of like, holy shit, man! Like that's some next level support, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if that's the only thing you're doing is slides, I mean, he sells like other like parts
Yeah,
kits and stuff too. And correct me if I'm wrong, Marconi, but if like you're just doing slides, you're like, hey, this other guy just came out with an awesome slide. You should check it
yeah,
out. Like,
yeah,
whoa,
yeah.
that's slides. By the way, his new slide that he just dropped is pretty sweet.
I know, I know. I'm in
I
line
got,
for one.
yeah,
I gotta get. Um, I'm supposed to be in line for one. I gotta hit him back up. Make sure I'm in line for one.
yeah,
I know I've got
yeah,
one of yours coming. I've
yes, sir.
man, that thing is beautiful. What I
Yeah,
really need to do is I need to get an actual Glock frame to get your master work done on that so that I can, with our powers combined, Captain Planet that bitch. Because
yeah, yeah.
exactly.
No, dude. Hey, I would love to give you like the full Shogun experience, man. Because
Yeah.
doing the SCT was nice, but I had never
Yeah.
done one.
Yeah.
I
It
got
was
the
new. It was new.
yeah, I have never done one, but man, the bread and butter,
Hey,
is
the guys at SCT liked it. I, I
nice.
yeah, no, they saw the video. They said that
Mhm.
thing came out. They came out really good.
Sweet.
Um, they've got some other stuff coming, so we'll do some play. We'll play around with it. Definitely.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, man. Dude, what was I just gonna say? I saw a comment. Shit, I think I missed it somewhere. I don't know. Yeah, the SCT came out sick. Yeah, yeah, it did, man. It
It
came
did.
out nice.
I
Those are
would
comfortable.
I would show it. That's about as
Yeah,
much
but
as that's as much as
yeah,
YouTube's gonna allow.
exactly. About growing a community, there's plenty of Glocks
Yes,
out there for us all. Yeah, we collaborate. I know it's like 20 million plus Glocks, man. You think I'm worried about, you
exactly.
know?
We got there's a lot of them. Daggers use Glock. That's what I'm saying. We are in the golden age.
Yeah.
When the P80 craze happened, I thought, man, that's man, it's gonna go off. That was nothing.
Yep.
This
Yep.
new era where we've got SCT building frames, we got Nomad, who was the first one, really the first ones on the market with a true contender, the Dagger frames, micro, I'm t-
Well,
the
listen.
slimline stuff, dude.
Yeah.
That's the new hotness right now.
Yeah,
Those
it is.
43s, 43X.
Well, if this case goes through, man, like if the people end up winning this frame and receiver rule,
Yes.
you're gonna see the industry flood with new companies making these things.
Yes. Now I give the P80 stuff a lot of crap just because of the the amount of stuff, just the terrible holes and that sort of thing. But I would love to see a better P80 frame truly hit the market. There've been a couple that have, hit or miss. Excuse me. But to see a better option on the market than just, we've had P80 Glock store put some crap out there. I think
What do we-
Lone Wolf did their stuff. But for me, I would love to see, you know, a better P80, you know, an 80% frame lower out there. And I mean, you know, you got guys that are 3D printing them, and the 3D printing
Right.
technology is just
I-
gone through the
Yeah.
roof, the abilities.
Yeah, and it's gonna keep getting better, man. You know,
Yeah.
it's just the way it works. But yeah, man, like I thoroughly enjoy the strike frames, man. I love how those things feel.
Well, the
I do a little.
SCT is close.
Yeah, the SCT is nice, dude. I honestly, I really like. Well, you know, I mean, the SCT frame's pretty much the strike frame.
It's really close.
You know, I'm pretty sure like that's who like is, you know, it's like fucking hell. So,
Yeah.
but those SCTs, I was telling Josh, I'm like, because he said another frame. I think he was saying the dagger frame was the nicest one in the market. I'm like, no, I'm like those daggers feel really nice. Those micros, they do, but that SCT frame, man, feels very nice.
I'm so in between the two when it comes to the micro or the SCT. They're so like the regular dagger's okay. My biggest qualm or issue with the full size dagger is just the removable rails. That's, you know, if it had built-in rails, molded in rails, I'd be a bigger fan of the frame itself. But that's where the micro dagger has the molded in rails. Perfect. But that SCT frame for the slimline is also just beautiful.
Yep.
Oh, he wanted to let you know it was the Grit Grip is the best frame. You haven't played with one of those yet.
That's what he thinks. I don't think they're the best frames out there as far as comfort.
Yeah.
But they sure are comfortable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They sure are comfortable. I think they are comfortable, and they did a very good job on the gas pedals. The grip is good. The ergonomics are good. It's good. I just think the SCT's a more comfortable frame. But it's not to say that Grit Grips isn't a great frame, though, right?
That's the beauty of it. There's so many options. There's so it's so beautiful. There was a time when you had to send out a frame, you know, a regular Glock frame, to be stippled and contoured to be what you want it to be, versus now, you know, somebody could buy a say a Grit Grips frame or a PSA frame and just be right out of the box pretty happy with it. I'm one of those people. I can't have anything factory.
You're right. To elaborate on that, though, I have yet to run into an 80 frame who has got an undercut, right? The single undercut. I have yet to run into one that has got a properly formed single undercut. I think the Grit Grip frame comes closest, but I have to recontour all the single undercuts. I've done them on P80s. I've done them on strikes. I've done them on SCTs. I've done them on other 80 frames. Just no one nails it. They don't really understand the finer details of a single undercut.
Have you played with the Zev OZ9?
I have one.
Okay, that grip. Whose hand did that was? I mean, granted, I have medium-sized little girl hands. Okay, so I'm not everybody. Yeah, they are. Those little medium-sized little girl hands. They work. Okay, they get because I got the mini, the micro that I carry around. I don't need big hands. So, that Zev frame, at least for me, I'm like, whose hand did they design that around?
Dude,
like,
okay,
wearing gloves or something.
I gotta say, I love that Zev frame.
Really?
The way that one fits in my hand, it's got that little mold, the hump on the side.
Okay.
I love those. Yeah.
See, for me, I love the chassis design. Overall, I love that design. But I had to send the grip module out. One, I can't have anything factory, but two, it just for me felt like I was more retarded than I already am. So just for me, But then
I
again,
have one that I'm gonna stipple, actually,
okay.
my own personal one. I want to stipple it, and then at some point I really want to get laser settings for that module. I want to get them for um, all the glass filled polymers too. You know,
Mhm.
I'll ask Josh for his settings, and he'll give them to me.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
and if he doesn't, I'll just remind him of the time when he was like, "Hey, bro, let me get your settings," and I gave them to him. But I'll just remind him of that day. And when I was struggling for like 4 days and he didn't want to come help me, I figured it out on my own. And he was like, "Oh my God, you got settings that are blank, blank, blank," because I can't give away that secret.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, "I'm gonna need those settings.
I got to give it to you guys, man.
I'm
The
gonna need the
laser. I I have a little laser. It's I'm good enough to do aluminum for the most part. Uh, and some brass from time to time. But oh my God, you guys and your polymer, I know the type of headaches that you guys go through just,
It's a big headache.
trying to just knock out those settings. I gotta give it to you guys. Freaking
I have
amazing.
Man, I've gone through hell with lasers. Like, well, that's a
Oh,
conversation today.
you were telling, yeah, you had a laser
Go ahead.
go,
Go ahead. You
yeah,
open it up. Yeah.
went belly up on you. Yeah. Oof.
Yep. I've been through two lasers, man, which means a multitude of settings. And then, my last laser had settings that were just beautiful. Like when
Yeah.
Josh seen them, I'm not poking fun, but when he saw them, he was like, "These are the best settings on the market." And I'm like, "I think they are. But that laser started doing stupid shit. So then I got a whole new laser setup. My parameters changed. Thankfully, I'm very close to those settings that I used to have before, so I'm excited. But there's still that part of me that's like, if I ever really want to, I'm gonna go buy that 60-watt laser again.
Yeah.
The software is put together, and I'm gonna fucking get those settings again.
I think it's funny we bring up, bringing up lasers again is when you would, a couple years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, when lasers were starting to really become more available and people were using them. I can remember all the stipple groups were like, "Ah, lasers, you guys are just cheating. That stuff's so easy. That's, nobody." And I can
Mhm.
remember the early laser jobs, at best they were one pattern, and it looked like a laser job.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but man, you guys,
I mean,
you and Josh, other guys,
yeah. There's some other guys out there.
a
Yeah,
couple,
sure,
a
man.
couple.
When you get your laser, you get like pretty much like a if you're using Illustrator, or let me just back it up. When you get your laser, like they'll send you like patterns,
Uh-huh.
if you want patterns. I'm like, oh yeah, here's patterns. It's like your typical like tetrahedron cubes and stuff pattern. That's cool, that's cool. I
Yeah,
don't like, I won't knock it, man. If you just want to like have some push ready,
yeah.
design wise, start, turnkey ready, cool, run with those patterns. But people like myself and Josh and and other artists, it's like you got to push forward, man. You got to push
Mhm.
forward because that's what makes you stand out.
Yeah.
You got to have a pattern where, whether it's a hand stipple pattern or a laser stipple pattern, where if you want that, you have to go to company, XYZ. Uh, I had a company, Cerakote company, message me recently. Actually, he wanted to buy my Shogun camo because I have a Shogun camo, that I designed myself. It's a bunch of
Okay.
hexagons that's kind of mixed in like a multicam
Yeah.
template as well. And he was like, I'm like, nah, dude, because that's my
It's
stuff.
yours. Yeah. Yeah.
And he's like, I guess I'll just have to send a rifle to you, my personal rifle. He's a Cerakoter. I said, I
Yeah.
guess you will, But there are things you have to do, man, if you want to set yourself aside from other laser guys or other
Mhm.
hand stipplers. Um, you know, uh, Go ahead.
Oh no, no. I was just gonna say because there are a lot of different options out there, good and medium and otherwise. But to set yourself apart is you have to. You you just have to, or
Yeah.
you won't be out there very long, or you'll just be a mom and pop shop that people take their stuff to because they can get it done in 30 minutes or less. And
Right.
yeah.
That man. We share some textures, the stipplers. We have, the little microburst, texture. Jeckelson does it, Josh does it, I do it, a few other guys do it. So we may like share like maybe 1 or 2 tips, but for the most part, man, I have like over a dozen textures that are just my textures, right? And I've broken them down to 7 now because I don't want to overload people with options, but yeah, man, just gotta just, that's part of your brand, right? That's part of your branding.
Yes.
Having your own personal touch. If somebody was, I brand all my frames. You get the mascot, the samurai on my gun. You know what I mean? You get the logo on the other side. You get Shogun on the desk cover. But if you were to get a zoomed in picture of my texture, you'd be like, oh, that's Shogun Custom, because it would be my texture. So that's part of the brand.
Yeah. No, that's cool. You gotta set yourself aside, because there's a lot of options. In the last, since I've been in this, and I've seen a lot of different shops come and go, and different not fads, but different you call it fads, or just different styles come and go. And you've got a couple guys that managed to stay the course, and they've got their branding, they've got their patterns, and they innovate as things come along, but they also have their their gun or their pattern or their style when you see it come up on different feeds. So it definitely takes
you can recognize them, man. You can recognize them as soon as you see somebody's work. Oh, that's and that's what it's about. You want people to know your work when they see it.
No, that's part of it. But it's Easter. I think we've had a good conversation. We've razzed Josh a little bit. Let him know he's got to stay on his toes.
Yeah, let him know that no matter when he comes on your show, it was after me. So
you were the first person. I asked. I was like, you know what? Because we were talking about the bill. I was like, I'm gonna ask Will, and probably gonna get in trouble from other people that I didn't ask first. But you know what? I'm always in trouble anyway, so that's all right.
That's right. We always are. Hey, man, that's this industry. If you're in this industry, you're always in trouble.
Oh man, yeah, you can't please everybody, and you can't. Yeah, that's the other. Yeah, from social media, all the different platforms hate us. Payment processors hate us. Oh my goodness, websites hate us. I mean, having oh my goodness, I know. We've jumped through some serious hoops. Instagram hates us. Man, I remember when you could actually get followers on Instagram. I can remember waking up every morning to like 20 or 30 new followers on Instagram. Dude, it was crazy back in the day. 2018, 2017, you could actually get followers. 2019, 2019 is when a lot of it changed there. Instagram used to be the TacticalPontoon platform of choice for social media, but things have changed. But we rock and roll. We move. It's not supposed to be easy. That's one of our sayings here on this little podcast, if you will, is it's not supposed to be easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it. So
I respect it. That's why you work harder.
Work harder. I got it right. I'm always like going on the wrong side. Right, so I got it right. So
you're getting better, man. I appreciate this, man. Thank you for having me on, man. I'm honored to be on your show, and it's a pleasure, man.
If anything, I'm honored that you're part of the TacticalPontoon installer program. I mean, that's massive for me. I'm awesome. To be able to build some really cool stuff. That's kind of what that's really, this feeds me. And as you can see, I eat well. But at the same time, part of it is just about building cool things. It's about doing really cool things. And I'm glad to be part of your journey. So
likewise, man.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for, we'll have you on again. Maybe I'd like to, one of these days, you know, I'll get several of you guys on from the installer program who just like we can just
That would
I
be
get a
a hell
group
of
of
a start.
everybody. It'll be cool. It'll be a lot of
That
fun.
would
We
be
might
awesome.
even bring Josh on. We'll see.
Dude, man,
Uh-oh.
Jesus Christ, man. Why
That's
is he still here?
no, it looks like he jumped. He was smart. He jumped off. It's my internet. It just
It's hard.
dude, it's crazy.
I know. See, even the internet hates us.
Yeah, well, the internet's like you guys have been on long enough. So
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
let's end this here, and we'll do it again soon. I will definitely be in contact with you. You know, we got a build. We're gonna come up, and I'll do a video on it, and
Cool.
we'll just build more cool shit.
Hell yeah. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you, man. And thank you to everybody in the comments. Appreciate
All right,
it.
guys. We'll catch you
Yep.
guys later.